Hi, this is PA Camping Dad, Doogie. I'm going to show you today how to make a continuous loop out of 7/64 Amsteel. The finished length of this is about 9 inches stretched out, and I use these for in my hammock suspension. This is how I attach to my hammock, and then I hook onto here with a whoopee hook or a speed hook, and this is how you make continuous loop out of Amsteel. You can also make them a little longer and use them for extensions. Of course, they're very strong with the Amsteel doubled over. Let me show you how to splice it. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is prepare your piece of Amsteel. In this case, for this finished loop here, I start with a piece that's 34 inches long, and then you need to make marks on it, and I make marks at 2 1/4 inches from each end. Closer to 2 1/2 there, and at 7 inches. Okay, and then you're going to taper at 2 1/4 inches. So the way that also the tools that you need really are minimal. A good sharp knife, and you can either use a large needle with a blunt tip. Dutch sells these. You can also get them in large packs, I think, at Walmart. And the other tool that makes the berry a lot nicer is called a loop turner. And I don't know if you can see, it has a little gate here that allows you to pull something through. It's used in sewing for turning pieces inside out. It's great for fishing things through, for like a stuff sack, fishing through your channel, your drawstring. So the first thing you need to do is taper each end, and to do this you just open up the weave a little bit at your mark and pick one of these bundles . You just want to make sure you just get one, and it's critical not to pierce any of the bundles. So you slip your needle through like that, and then I pinch behind it and just give yourself a little, wiggle it a little till you have enough there to grab onto, and I grab it with my fingernails and then just gently tug it, and you can kind of milk it back, and what you're doing is you're pulling one strand out there. Okay, so then you need to do that 2 more times, and you don't want them next to each other, so you want them evenly distributed around the braid. So just repeat that, open it up, come over, I'm going to grab the next one, I grab over here, give yourself a little room, and each one gets a little easier because it's not as tight. And I like to milk it back down to keep it tight. And then one more. Naturally it wants to grab the one next to it when I'm on camera. So after you have these 3 pieces out, you need to trim them off. I used to trim on a block of wood, but I got a tip later that This way is much easier. I normally grab them and just slide your knife in there and do it that way. Much easier, cleaner. And I've heard do not use scissors. If you ever want to use those scissors for anything again, it will dull them terribly. So that's most of the prep work. So now what we do is find our mark that is 7 inches from the end, and we need to open that up. Insert our needle through. You want to make sure that you're going straight through, and then take your long end thread your needle with it, and you don't need to thread it very far at all. It'll take care of itself. And then I grab my fingernails on either side. Hopefully this will be in focus when I look at it later, and just pull it through. And you want to pull some through. Do not pull your mark through. Find that mark on the other side, open that up, and repeat the process. Go through, get your end, thread your needle, go ahead and pull that through. And then you can pull these, grab on your two ends, and you pull them until they butt up tight. Now you need to bury these ends, these free ends. So the first step to doing that is to expand this portion of the Amsteel that you're going to be burying into. So it's just a matter of pinching it and pushing. And you want to double check and see that you've expanded enough to bury your piece. You see I have to go a little more. And normally you'll need to go beyond, because you're not really fully expanding it as wide as it really will be once you bury that in there. So that looks about right. I have like an extra inch plus. So now this is where the loop turner makes this job a lot easier. I'll see if I can do it both ways. So we'll do the loop turner first. So with the loop turner, go ahead, and I can even make it a little longer, because you can't, when you're doing the loop turner method, you can't go back and add extra. You can't rebury it very easily. So here's where this little piece flips down. Just feed the loop turner, start it at your end where you're going to come out, and feed it on through. And it should be going very easily through here. Then you want to come out right where you buried the right at this point here. You're going to come out. There it comes. So you go ahead and bring that out. Then take your piece that you're going to bury there, slide it in your little catch. Make sure this little gate is flipped down shut. And once you got it started, then you just little twisting, little working with the fingers. And once that berry gets in there, it goes very easy. Just slides right through. Down to the end. Bring her out. And then you want to pull this tight. So it buries all in. Then you milk it down, and you're watching this free end as you milk. And that should get drawn all the way in. And there, we're halfway done. Now I'll see if I can show you the method of doing it with just with the needle. It's a little tougher on the fingers. If you had a longer, somebody said that they had a longer needle like this, and that would make it a lot easier. But again, same technique where you need to expand your Amsteel. And again, I go about an inch past what looks like it's going to do. So then in this case, open up your spot where your line is coming out and stick it right in there and get it inside the center of the braid. Sometimes this can be a little tricky finding the center, but there we go. So you just go ahead and feed that down until your eye is just left. Thread your needle. And here you do want to make sure that it's not going to pull out on you. And then what I do here is just, as soon as you get it rammed into the where it's going to bury, it's not going to slip. So you have it kind of pushed in there. So now here's where you just keep compressing this, the outer sleeve, until you get to the end of where you've kind of marked. And you'll be surprised how far you can go. Pretty much this whole 7 inches needed to bury, you can do on one of these needles. So come to the end and get it out. Obviously don't split any of those fibers. Just want to go between the bundles. And here's where the needle's just a little tricky, is you gotta just get this started, and it's a matter of wiggling and pinching with your one hand, and there's just barely enough to grab onto there. Resist the urge to use a pair of pliers. I did this, and yeah, it worked, but it also ruined the needle because it cut into the pliers cut into the needle, and it now catches when I try to slide things. So this is a new needle. So this is where the loop turner makes it a lot easier. But you can see, you can do it here. It's just a matter of fiddling with it, losing my grip on the end. But now I've got more and more. And once it gets going, then it's fine. So, and get it out. Same as before. Pull it all the way so you're tight. So that's nice and tight there. Now, when I've done the needle method, you may not have come out far enough. So you want to watch your berry as you're milking. And if it doesn't look like it's going to make it all the way, stop and go back and add extra. But it looks like I got it here. That's how you make a continuous loop. And this leaves enough of the single diameter Amsteel to use on whoopee hooks or speed hooks. So it leaves about 3 inches of single diameter. And that's how you make a continuous loop in 7/64 Amsteel. And I like to make them different colors. You can make one on the head and one on the foot, and you always know which is which on your hammock. Get out there and have fun.